Yeah, sorry, it is. Ley Lines and Whispers of Gold. Maps that we have not seen yet today until now. And here we go, we're jumping into our upper bracket semifinals, and spawning in the right hand corner of Ley Lines, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Gaiman Gladiators. It is SHIN. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponent, we have the Brood War Terran player, the Polish Terran. It is Spirit. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat. If I remember correctly, it was very cheesy. Yes, it was very cheesy. As SHIN opening up pool first. Interesting. So pool first opener out of SHIN. Meanwhile, if you haven't seen much of Spirit in this matchup, he very often plays mech. Not always, but very often does play mech here with his Brood War Terran. Going CC first. CC first into typically like a vulture into tank composition. We'll see if he does deviate. We'll see if he does play bio at some point. I know he did vary it up a little bit against Dark previously. But now I'm ready. I'm ready for the 2025 version of Spirit in StarCraft Evolution. Oh, going for a 2-Rax opener. Okay, you have my attention. Let's go. We should be seeing a 3rd-Rax behind this. Getting into a 3-Rax setup. There we go. 3-Rax into Academy, into Stim. But remember, this was still CC first. So this is not the same build that Milky Cow went for. Milky Cow, he rushed into 3-Raxes and rushed into Stim. This is a more economic start into a later timing. Meanwhile, the initial pull is done. SHIN, he's moving out across the map. Now, because the Rax is a little bit delayed, there is opportunity here for these links to wreak havoc. But now scouting for proxies before moving out. SHIN does settle in. Taking his gas. Shema, papi, Shema. Ah, good to see you. Good to see you. So, when are we getting the real scale tournament? we don't do that here. No. I don't think there's like a proper like competitive form of real scale tournaments. Unfortunately, I think that's more for aesthetic purposes, but fun nonetheless, I'm sure. Fun nonetheless. Ooh. As we are going to be opening up with our Firebats. Academy is done, of course. Firebats, they can trade very well here against Lingbane. So it's a unique dynamic. I mean, I guess it's similar to the Marauder. I would say the Firebat is more effective than the Marauder when it comes to tanking and dealing with Lingbane. As the Firebats have arrived. So far 3, getting up to 6, and going for an earlier push. Again, instead of going for the upgrade, instead of going for Stim, we do see Spirit, he is intentionally amassing more Firebats for a move out. Jesus, getting 3 more, getting up to 9. 9 Firebats. That's a hefty amount of Firebats, and here comes the push. Here comes the move out. And SHIN back at home. He's been droning even more. The Overlord's not in position. He does not see the move out until now. Thankfully, he has no Overlord in the center of the map. Will spot the army. And he's been droning. What does he have to defend? He has 3 Lings. He has 3 Queens. He has nothing. Nothing to defend. Uh-oh. SHIN is in trouble. Now, thankfully, there's no Stim. If there was Stim with this, I think SHIN just dies. But of course, there is no Stim with this army. Howard's going for the base. Queen's trying to keep up. Firebats, they do take a lot of hits. Say waddle on forward. Lings, they get annihilated. 1 Queen getting caught out. And the first Queen is going to fall. Gets 1 Queen so far, but the others, they do so much DPS here to the Firebats, it looks like SHIN is holding. Whew, he does hold on. The Queens, they hold their own. And SHIN doesn't lose any drones. Doesn't lose any workers. Just 16 Lings and 1 Queen. Better trade for SHIN. Now we can saturate. Now we can settle into Lingbane. And this is where I would say that Spirit's in a rough position. That was very dedicated. A very dedicated push there from Spirit. He had to do more damage. He didn't. Now he's working towards his factory, towards Stim, towards a 3rd TC. But this is all a little bit later here for Spirit. We'll see if he can maintain this. Back at home, SHIN is just droning. So because Shin is droning, this means that Spirit should be left alone. Should be fine. So Spirit, he should be able to stabilize and get into his own third base. Lings, they dip in, but there's an army to defend. And Shin is just droning. Just droning. Double Evo chamber. Lair is on the way. We're gearing up towards the mid game. Alright, let's go. We're gearing up towards that mid game. And we can see here that it was initially a 3 ranks opener into mech. Double factory, so triple factory production into double armory as well. So this is a hard switch into mech from Spirit. We mentioned at the start of the series, this is typically where he thrives, like mech as a composition. Mech in TVZ is where Spirit does find a lot of success. When it comes to Brood War mech, I should say. And yeah, the Raxes are just being used as scouts. The Raxes, they're all lifted. They're all floating over to wall off even. But again, because of the opener, because of the Hellbats, it does mean that this transition is late. It's a late transition to mech, which means Shin is free to drone. Like, there's nothing to threaten him. There's no Vulture run-bys, there's no Vulture counterattacks, there's nothing to threaten Shin. Shin is free to just hammer down that drone key, expand, tech up, and get away with greed. We go. Here we go. StarCraft 2 is very ready for Brood War Stim challenge. Yeah, as we mentioned, he intentionally went without Stim, as that's how he was able to afford additional Firebats. And now Spirit, he is taking his 4th. Building up his mech army, and he's going to be turtling. He's just going to be turtling up back at home. We'll see if Shin can delay the expansion. Lings, they dive in. Scouts into the main to confirm the mech. Oh. So far being forced back. Spider Mines are set. We have Spider Mines towards the left, towards the center, and soon towards the right as well. And we have noticed the movement of the Vulture has significantly changed since the last time we saw them. Again, there was a change to make it more reactive or to allow it to be more microable. We have noticed. And Spirit can benefit, but here comes the dive. Spider-Man's they go up. Oh my god, they shut down the Link Bane. Everything, actually. Jesus. There was a bit of friendly fire. The question marks get thrown down. May Spirit, he question marked Geralt as well. Ay, ay, ay. Spirit, he's so cheeky. Usually in SC2, like he's like innovation, like he's very emotionless, but both against Geralt and against Shin, the question marks, they're being thrown down all over the place. Este Spirit. So Spirit, he defends. What does he lose when it comes to the friendly fire? Just a handful of Marines. If that even. There we go. Oh, actually, it doesn't show. Oh, because of the friendly fire, I don't think it shows here. But it was some Marines and some fire bats did fall. So here we go. He is setting up that 4th. Walling up as well. The tanks. The spider mines. Again, we're completely done with bio. We're going into even Wraith production. Okay. Wraiths alongside Cloak. Spirit has been lured to the dark side. He has. Like he's... He likes his question mark. Like... That's like the entry into like BM. Like... Oh no. Oh no. You want nice contamination here. Slowing down the Wraiths. You don't see this enough. But very nice contamination. Likewise, Wraith production was spotted, was confirmed by Shin. Back at him getting into Roach Hydra. So Lingbane Roach Hydra here out of our Zerg player. From here, the Hive is done. Vipers are amassing. Vipers are going to be ideal here against this army. Getting into Lunkers as well. And we spoke about it. Shin has just been left to his own devices. No harass, nothing to threaten the economy whatsoever for Shin. He's just been free to drone, take more bases, spread more creep. He has full map control. But the reason for this is because of the early game. Like, we should emphasize that as well. That because the early game went so poorly for Spirit, it did set him behind. Oh no! Okay, they crash in. That shuts down some of the Vultures. Abducting the tank. And more tanks on the way, more abductions. Gets one, gets two tanks. But the Hydras are being overwhelmed. There's just not enough support here. Nice fight in Cloud. The Hydras actually somewhat holding their own. Oh my, the Blinding Clouds are crazy. He has so many Vipers, so many spells. Alas is being forced back. But still, that was what, 5 tanks going down. We have more Ling Hydra on the way. Spider-Mine's popping off. Big connection on the Hydras. The Hydras, they get shut down. Spirit, he's holding. He's barely holding on, but really, Shinny's just waiting for his Vipers to gather more energy to dive in once again. Where's the anti-air? Just the Wraiths. Here come those Blinding Clouds. They cover most of the tanks. Abduction's coming in, and Spirit is just being pulled apart. They're just being pulled apart on the low ground. The Vipers are running out of energy. There's what, like one more abduction left. More tanks falling. CC is exposed. And Shinny should be able to bring it down. Oh, no, never mind. It's barely saved. Shin gonna be forced back. Spirit, he's barely holding on. And I believe the Viper count was not quite reset, but one Viper went down. One Viper did fall. There's 3 Vipers left. Spirit trying to wall up. Getting another expansion. Still just making purely vultures and tanks. BMSE Spirit, the world is not ready. It's not. Oh. Abducting 2 more tanks. Yeah, 3rd tank going down. Once again, the tank line is pretty well set up here on the high ground, but not on the low ground. Has to move down. The Wraiths are doing a great job here just zoning away those Vipers. Forcing them back. Viper count was reset. We have 3 more Vipers in production. So Shinny has to rebuild those Vipers. Tank's trying to get within range of the mineral line. They're getting close. Meanwhile, these minerals are so bright. Like, more so, they're like radioactive minerals. Jesus. More so than usual. So your Spirit is pushing in. Deny is mining, going for the expansion. Viper still gathering energy. Let's see, Spirit trying to go for Rumbai, but last is a wall of Spine Coolers to defend. No, the Vipers. Vipers, they're good to go. They're topped up. Spirit trying to harass. Vipers, they come in. Here comes the On Siege. Tank does fall. Yeah, brutal Blinding Clouds. The tanks, they do nothing. There's 1 tank behind this. Yeah, Spider-Mine's doing quite connect. Abduction here on the Changeling. Let's go. And Shinny's breaking through. He's breaking through the defensive line. Takes down, what, 6 tanks? Oh my god. Spider-Man was brutal. Shin still out trades. Spirit going for a counterattack, pushing through the center. Now, bearing in mind, this mech army for Spirit is still quite cheap. So that's what I love most about when it comes to these like Brood War engagements, is that we see like 6, 7, 8 tanks go down, and Spirit, he's still almost maxed out. Like, he's maintaining himself. Yo, we have the Goliaths! Goliaths have arrived. Lings eager for Rumbai. Ooh, SCVs are going down. Brutal losses. Leading out to 11 SCVs. Meanwhile, once again, we do launch in. The tanks are exposed. Massive pickoffs. Getting, what, 3, 4, 5, 6 tanks? Even without the Blinding Clouds. Spirit was caught with his pants down. Likewise, double power bomb. Taking a lot of damage. Jeez, there are so many Spider-Man set up on the high ground. And Spirit going back to what he does best. Going mass Goliath. Let's go. Making 8 more tanks behind this. Goliath's pushing forward. Taking down some of the side defense. So far, the Goliath's doing well. Lurker production has begun. That's what the tanks are for. Decent blinding clouds. Oh my god, the Vipers, they do fall to the Goliaths. 3 Vipers going down. Massive pickoffs. Goliaths, they do well for themselves. They almost reset the Viper count. The base does fall. And now Spirit can just rotate. Now it can rotate over. More lurkers building up. At least attempting to. At the same time, Hydras, they knock down the bottom right base. Knock down the expansion. Shin, he just keeps on pushing. Going for another expansion. Spirit out of position. Again, a very immobile army. And another CC is going to go down. Spirit, he may as well just counterattack. He's trying to, but there are lurkers. Lurkers are set up. And once again, when it comes to mobility, Shin is quick to just unburrow, to scuttle away. Yo, BCs though. BC production has begun. We spoke about it earlier. BCs for the Brood War have been buffed. They have been improved. So BCs are on the way. Tanks pushing right down the center. And they're getting within range here of the lurkers. Yeah, Vipers are not ready. There's what, 1, 2 blinding clouds, if that. One pops off, but the Hydras, they're running out of Hydras here. He's going for the dive. There's no support. The tanks are on their own. But do they need support? As the lurkers, they get completely shut down. The CranKy was too good. And GG gets called. Shin gets broken. And Spirit takes game number 1. Whew, GG. GG, well played, Spirit. We never even got to see the BCs. Shin taking a really rough fight there. We saw Spirit trading so well. And again, something that I should emphasize, even though Spirit was losing a lot of tanks throughout that game, it's a much cheaper army to rebuild. So Spirit, he was able to maintain his army, maintain himself, rebuild those tank lines. He also had some really good moments with his Goliaths as well. Was able to catch out the Vipers on multiple occasions. And again, was able to out-trade Shin. Shin just getting a little bit too excited, a little bit too cavalier by pushing through the center, by trying to dive on top of those tanks. Even though they were exposed, the tanks, clearly they can hold their own. Clearly. The concave was too good. And Shin, he ran out of steam. And with that, we're getting into our next game. We're getting into game number 2. We'll see if Shin can bounce back or Spirit will claim the win. I'm also curious to see which races our players are going to commit to, because Spirit, he does typically enjoy playing Brood War more than SC2 when it comes to picking races here in this mod. He often, if he can, he will commit to just Brood War Terran. But it is Shin's choice, as Shin did lose the game, so it's his choice if he wants to go into SC2 or not. Here we go. Here we go. You say Spirit has left Shin unchecked, but I actually think Shin has left Spirit unchecked. Yeah, Shin, he, I would say, was trading well, and he did kill 2 bases towards the south line. But as we saw, you know, in the end, Spirit, he was able to maintain those losses. You could argue, maybe had a greater economy for a longer period of time, so was able to build up a bank anyway to be able to afford those trades, to be able to afford losing tanks. And of course, Shin did have some really rough fights pushing through the center, which didn't help. He did have some rough fights. And with that, game 2 is upon us. Going to be loading into Whispers of Gold. Let's go. Let us go. Looks like our players, they need some time though. They need some time to themselves. We can take a moment to catch up with the bracket. It looks like we have some updates coming in. 3-point takes down Homono 2-1, went all the way to the ace match, but does take it. Meanwhile, the rest of the matches are still ongoing. So I'm gonna go on a very short break here. I need a refill. I'm out of water. Like my water is just, can you not? It's empty. It's empty. So I do need a moment, and we'll be back soon with game number 2. We'll be back soon. and welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Whew, hope you enjoyed the lovely Brutal OC as we returned. We returned with Game 2 with the rest of the series. As our Terran player is leading 1-0, we'll see if that trend continues. We'll see if we can force the ace match or if it all ends here and now. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Whispers of Gold, we have the SE2 Zerg player, the Red Zerg for Gaming Gladiators. It is SHIN. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the Polish Terran player, the Brood War Terran. It is Spirit. Again, Spirit, he's arguably the player the favorite player in the entire tournament to win the entire event. We'll see if anyone can stop him. Ooh, as SHIN, he opens up with the proxy hatch. Let's go. We start with the hatch block. A very unique start here by SHIN, and we'll see if these shenanigans can give him the edge he needs to claim the win. Now again, it is a loser's pick, from my understanding, loser's pick, so SHIN, he chose to commit to SE2, which means Spirit is able to embrace the Brood War side of things. Once again. Once again. CC is on the way. Is going to be proxy, or is going to be the hatch block into a pool before the natural expansion, so a much more aggressive follow-up here out of SHIN. Much more aggressive. Damn, hard to engage tank Goliath. Exactly right. Like, typically you'd have the Vipers to lead the charge to get those blinding clouds, but because the Goliath's zoning the Vipers away, and the Goliath anti-air is crazy, it shuts down the Vipers. And I mean, we saw that kind of that dynamic in the previous game, but now we're setting up here into game number 2. We have our double racks follow-up here out of Spirit, once again starting with Bio, but I would not be surprised if, just like the last game, Spirit starts with Bio and then hard switches into mech. Drone does scout, drone does confirm. The hatchery doesn't complete, but did force some inefficient mining, as a lot of SCVs were pulled to focus on the hatchery. But now Spirit, he can expand. The CC timing wasn't delayed by too much. Building up the Bio, and I'm curious if once again Spirit is going to go for another Firebat push, another Firebat timing without Stim. I'm curious. Back at home, SHIN, he's double expanding, getting his natural, getting his third. Likewise, even though he went for the earlier spawning pool, no lings, only the queen. Sorry, 4 lings. 4 lings and the queen. The lings are here to apply pressure, to poke in, but no big commitment here by SHIN, as Marines are building up. And there is that academy. Once the academy comes into play, we could go into Sim, or we could go into Firebat production once again. The rush distance by ground on Whispers of Gold is short. It's much shorter than the previous map, so I want to say that an early push can be a little more successful here for Spirit. I'm concerned. Oh, that is not Stim. That is not Stim. We're going for range instead. Okay, I see you. Let's go. What is it? U258 3 shells? Something like that. 283, 256, 789, 60. Yeah. Here we go. Likewise, Firebats are amassing. Yo, shout to Enki. El hermoso, papi. Oh my god. I hope you had a great time casting. I hope everything's okay. I'm sure that Enki is going to be covering the rest of these matches via replays if something did come up. But I hope you had a great time. What were you casting? Which matches? Gracias, papi. Gracias. Gracias. Papi, bienvenidos todo de Enki Stream. Bienvenidos. Aquí estamos en inglés. Estamos casteando en inglés, no en español. Just as a heads up. English cast, not Spanish. Pero bienvenidos. Bienvenidos, papi. So here we go. As we do have our Roach Warren follow-up. Meanwhile, Medivacs are on the way, and here comes the early push. Up, SHIN! He sees! He barely catches a glimpse. Does he notice? Does he notice in time?
So old school.
Go. Oh, you had some hardware issues. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. Yeah, I've been there before, at least when it comes to, like, networking issues as well. I hope that things clear up. Hope you're able to figure out what's going on with your PC. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. But regardless, once things get resolved, I'm sure Anki's gonna be there with you, with those replay casts. Always happy, always. But yeah. Regardless, hope you had a good time covering your matches. So here we go. Shin does move out. Again, going for his own timing. Cutting workers here at 2-base saturation. Under 2-base saturation. He does pull out of gas. 36 drones. All he has is going for the all-in. As he moves out, here comes Spirit. We miss each other. We're going for the base trade. Let's go. Shin is going for the natural. Spirit likewise going for the natural as well. Does that medics? He can't support himself. When Shinny turns around, he races back home. The Ravagers commit, and the Lings, they turn around, but there are fire bats. How can the Lings engage? They're gonna try it. Walls being broken down. Lings, they dive in, but the fire bats are here, and they will shut this down. Oh my god, the Lings, they melt. The Lings get roasted. We have more Lings coming in. Some of the Marines did fall, but the fire bats, they just shut down the army. They push in, back at home, whereas Ravager, likewise, boys are being pulled, SCVs are falling, and Shinny defends. He does defend back at home. He deflects the army for now. Tank on the high ground though. Siege mode is done. +1 is going to be denied. And again, Spirit, he should be able to hold on to his own natural. Just barely. I'll get the eBay, he can float. He's going to be saved. The base is so low. And it should go down. I say that. Roaches have been amassing. Oh. Spirit going for the base. There's a transfuse. Despite that, the base will fall. Shin knocked down to 2 expansions. And GG gets called. Shin, he taps out. He loses the base. And Spirit will take the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Aye, Bappy Spirit, he does flex his macro play in game 1, and he flexes his defensive play here in game 2, able to survive the Ling Roach Ravager all-in, causing chaos, going for his own push across the map for Shin to race back home. Again, the Lings, they took down like 2 or 3 Marines, I want to say, but they got roasted by those fire bats. And with that, Spirit, he did crippling damage. Remember, Shin, he was all in. He cut workers at 36. Losing the 3rd base was a loss he could not afford. As he was trying to recover, he was so committed there. Even though Spirit lost some SCVs to defend, he had more than enough. And with that, GG. GG, well played. Spirit, he will advance on into the next round. And we have some updates. We have some updates for you. And has Spirit met his match? That is the question. Here we go. Exclamation mark, be in the chat to have a look at the back yourselves. We have some updates. We have some results coming.